General Dodge laid out Cheyenne in July of 1867. By September, when the Cheyenne newspaper started, they had about 300 people living here. But when the railroad arrived, it increased to 3,000 people. And that's where it got the name Magic City of the Plains. Well, we are currently today in the Cheyenne Depot building that was constructed in 1886 and 1887. And a portion, the west wing, has been converted to a railroad museum, basically. It's a historic structure in Cheyenne and actually a crown jewel of Cheyenne and a landmark. The Pacific Railroad Act was signed by Abraham Lincoln in July of 1862, but the plan for Pacific Railroad had been on the drawing boards for a number of years prior to that, but the Civil War came about and that delayed the construction of the railroad. And there was a lot of political pressure where the southern congressman wanted the route to go along the south. The northern congressman wanted it to go north, and Abraham Lincoln and General Dodge together decided that the central route would be the proper route to go. Also, the terrain across Wyoming allowed the early construction a lot less problem than in some of the other areas. The first train arrived Cheyenne in November of 1867. Cheyenne was laid out in July of 1867 by General Dodge. The reason Cheyenne was chosen is on the fact that we had a creek that went through here, and the source for water, and they wanted to build a shop here also at that time because it was the base of the Rocky Mountains. There was nothing in Cheyenne or anywhere here in the West until the railroad came. The railroad is the cause for the development of all of the communities along this whole southern tier of Wyoming. The first construction that occurred here at Cheyenne was a spur track that went up to the military base. It was not a base, it was a military establishment, and that was called Fort D.A. Russell. Fort Russell was a military establishment where they protected the railroad. Well, they needed protection because of the Indians. There was a lot of Indian uprisings. The Indians weren't too fond of the Iron Horse coming. And they knew that this was going to bring civilization and that it was going to affect their hunting grounds, which it did. Of course, transportation was so important. It was wonderful to be able to travel by train when previously a stagecoach was the only way across. And of course, the mail service had improved that so much. And then bringing in supplies and material for the development of this region, the railroad was responsible for that. In 1867, then the livestock industry was starting to develop, and cattle was the main type of livestock, and it was the biggest industry that we had here at that time. As the livestock industry grew, which it did up until about 1887, when there was a terrible blizzard, then the railroad hauled all that livestock out to market. So it was important to have it. In 1889, the Union Pacific started a big construction program, and they built a huge shop facility here in Cheyenne. Cheyenne was selected because they had a line that went south to Denver. It was intermediate between Ogden and Omaha, and so it was selected to handle freight switching and locomotive repairs. And that was the beginning of Cheyenne's great boom And then as time went on, they improved those shops, like the shop building we have over here now, which used to be a lot larger. They reduced it, but that building was completed in 1919. And Cheyenne had the largest shop on the system. And even during the Depression, the man hours of shops across the Union Pacific, Cheyenne shop exceeded all other shops with the man hours of employees. The railroad, of course, was a big employer. At one time, the Union Pacific was the largest employer in Cheyenne. I think the railroad that originated Cheyenne, the General Dodge laid it out. And over the years, it's been such an important industry in Cheyenne and Wyoming that I just don't know how you could look at it any other way than the importance of the railroad. And it still is. We run 100 trains a day through here.